Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my Spring 2024 quarterly writing wrap-up. I do these videos every 3 months to highlight some of my writing news of the quarter. I also go over the goals I set for myself this quarter and see whether or not a certain SEPTA will have to visit me. But even if she does, there's always next quarter and new goals to meet. So I cordoned this video off into a few sections, and you will see headers coming down the screen as such. And here we go. So the big writing news I have to report for this quarter, for the spring, is I've been slogging through my fantasy novel, and that's most of what's been taking up my time. I guess the big peak of it is that I have officially hit 100,000 words in the manuscript and gone beyond it, and I'm still not done yet, and that's all just a bit overwhelming to me. I also continue to be in the process of drafting and somewhat revising at the same time. I'm continuing to share one chapter per month with my salon's SFF Affinity Circle, and as of the end of June, we've gone through chapter 5 together. But since I am really currently focused on finishing the draft, I'm not making edits based on their feedback yet. I just have a bunch of scribbled printouts that are waiting for me. Because my bigger goal of sorts is that I am sharing new material with my beta reading group as I can. I'm currently at the tail end, I think, of drafting chapter 41. And I'm pretty definitively positive at long last that my outline is 46 chapters now. I've been going back and forth, will it be 45, will it be 46, but now I'm pretty sure it's going to be 46. My big problem there is that I'm a slow drafter with imposter syndrome, and maybe I've put too many moving pieces in these last few chapters as well. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing trial and error with the details as I go, because my outline is a little more broadly pulled back. I mean, basically, I do know where I'm ultimately going. I don't know quite how to get there. Although by this point, you know, it is almost near the end of the trail, as it were. But I was basically in this exact same conundrum a year or so ago when I was in the murky middle of the novel, and that's what led me to my beta reading group in the first place, and frankly, I think joining that group is what got me out of the middle. And in that vein, I can't fault myself too much, I suppose, for, you know, also continuing to share the draft with new people and revisit the beginning, because there's a bunch of stuff I have to retcon, as it were, into the beginning of the novel anyway. Stuff that I figured out later on that I have to put in there. So it's a complex but moving project. And basically, I'm doing most of my writing at the DC Writers Salon. You know, we do have the critique sessions where we meet up, but most of our sessions are write-in sessions. And I tended, for years I've been going most Mondays and Saturdays, but I've started adding Tuesday evenings as well, because I'm trying to dedicate myself very seriously to this project and wrapping it up, or at least, you know, the draft up. And to move past all my neurosis for a second, I remain so grateful, well, for both of the groups, the beta reading group, but also the writer salon that I meet with in person. I've met some great people there. It's been a wonderful part of my writing and my social life for these past few years. But to step away from all of the fiction writing and socialization that comes with it, I'm going to go to my favorite blog posts of the quarter, because that is also a big part of my writing life. I maintain 3 blogs and usually try to update them each once monthly at least. So I'm going to start with Jewish DC, which is my blog where I chronicle Jewish events going on in the Washington, D.C. area. And a couple of months ago, we had a Zoom event with my synagogue's library book club. And the event was with Rebecca Claren, who wrote the book The Cost of Free Land, Jews, Lakota, and an American Inheritance, which was her as a journalist and as a citizen of the Midwest coming to terms with the fact that her family was able to catapult into their status, their wealth and their middle classness in the U.S. Because that land that they moved onto as homesteaders was in fact forcibly taken from the Lakota people. And there's questions about how to make reparations for that, and also the complicated realities of Claren's family were escaping from the Pale of Settlement. One of her ancestors, in fact, was beaten very badly in a pogrom. And some of this hit rather close to home for me. I mean, part of it is just intriguing to me because she went to, Jewish texts to talk about the idea of reparations, but also her background is somewhat similar to mine because her Jewish family came from Belarus, and some of my Jewish family came from Belarus, and my family also settled in the Midwest, although not as homesteaders. So it was all very intriguing to me, her presentation that she gave over Zoom about the book. And I am planning to read it later this year, probably for a nonfiction November. Next, I'll move on to Chava's Footsteps, which is a broader Jewish cultural blog and also a pop culture blog. It's sort of a catch-all for me. But the post I'm going to talk about is my Passover post, where I chronicle what my Passover experience is year to year. So I called this one Pesach 5784. Someday I'll find peace with my Passover routine, Dayenu, which is a bit of a play on words because Dayenu means like enough already, like is it enough already? And it's a major theme in Passover of like, how much freedom is enough freedom. And so yeah, it was really a nice Passover for me this year. I feel like I struggle a lot with Passover because my family's very assimilated and Passover is a very family-centered holiday. But in fact, my synagogue holds a Seder every year, so I do take part in that. And this year I actually volunteered to help sign people in, and so that was my major part of feeling like I took ownership over the holiday this year. And also the rabbi gave us all a task, like to bring something from home that reminded us of freedom. So I actually brought these dolls with me to the Seder. Speaking of my Jewish family's heritage, these were from my grandmother's collection, and I got them when she died. And it just was something for me to, again, take ownership of Passover and my family ancestry. And a reminder, of course, these came from the Pale of Settlement. And in leaving the Pale of Settlement, especially before the Holocaust, it really does play into my personal sense of being free and alive. So I don't know, it felt very meaningful to me. And finally, for my reading and writing blog, I suppose this is somewhat similar because this is about Jewish American heritage. I made a post for Jewish American Heritage Month in May, which is also Short Story Month. So this is a perennial post for me where I pick 3 short story collections by Jewish American writers to highlight in my blog. And it's just always really fun, and it reminds me to keep reading and reviewing and finding them. So I have 3 more to share this year. But back to the meat and potatoes of this video, where mostly I'm taking myself to task about the goals I have set for myself and will set for myself. So this is how I did with my spring 2024 goals. Goal number 1 was my not-so-stretch goal: finish that dang fantasy draft. And if you watch the beginning of this video, you know I have not done that yet. It's been going slower than I would hope. I do feel like I've been saying for way too long I'm almost finished, and that people might be, getting sick of me saying that, but my pace continues to be slow. What can I say? So on to goal number 2, which was to submit a piece to my short story affinity group for the heck of it. This caters back to my writing salon. Another one of the critique groups we have is for short stories, and I do write short stories, but they've been very much on the back burner this quarter. In fact, they've been non-existent this quarter. I did not end up getting to this goal, and I partially really can't blame myself because I am trying to at least stay focused on the fantasy project and how, important it is for me to finish that. So I have enough distractions as it is, and hopefully, once I finished a draft, maybe I can, take a break and start writing some short fiction again, and certainly would be nice to share that with short story writers in my vicinity. And my final goal was to attend at least one freaking social or communal writing event at the salon, which again speaks to my salon is incredible. My in-person salon is incredible. There's so many events happening at the salon, and some of them are even, I do the write-ins, I do some critique events, and then we also have other sort of, drafting or social events together. And I haven't really attended any of those this quarter, but I have attended Tuesday write-in events, which kind of sort of count, right? And in fact, this quarter, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go out for tacos with one of my groups after we meet in July. And there's another event in July I really want to do is a Bronte movie night. So I should remake this goal for next quarter, I guess. But when it comes to this quarter...
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Now that we're getting into the middle of House of the Dragon Season 2, I think the SEPTA should be pretty busy shaming some other people. Like, first of all, there's a big war that's about to start looming that's going to, kill a lot of people. But closer to home, a certain ruler just disguised herself as a SEPTA to sneak into the Sept, which I imagine our SEPTA, Unella, would not be so thrilled about. But anyway, yes, I am very much enjoying House of the Dragon this year. Okay, and finally, moving on into the future, I have my summer 2024 goals announcement for 3 more goals to set for the 3 next months of this year. So for goal number 1, I'm going to say, finish this fantasy draft. Dayenu. I'm going to say, it will be enough if I finish this draft. I've been eking closer and closer. I've been putting it on the list for way too long, too many quarters of making this a goal. I'm at the end of chapter 41 and 46. I think the last few chapters might go a little faster, but, I should, knock on wood for that one. But yes, I'm feeling the most hopeful so far with this goal. Then goal number 2, though, is to make a plan for completing draft 2, because I'm not completely finished by a long shot, and I want to keep going with this. I might want to take a little bit of a break after I finish. I'm not sure. Finish the draft, but I want to also go full steam ahead for, doing major revisions and so forth, which I really hope will take less time. I do think that drafting is the thing that I find the most time-consuming, or at least that's my hope. And finally, my goal number 3 will be make a bingo at my salon's July writing challenge. I've been talking about the salon a whole lot in this video. If you live in the DC area, I'm going to leave a link down below. I hope you might check it out if you want to be part of a writing community. This is a really incredible one, and I've talked so much about all of the write-ins and other events we've had, and on top of that, in July, we have this bingo board challenge that we're all doing together, or, you can do, where, you just pick some options on this board here, and if you make a bingo, then you might win a prize in August. So I thought it might be fun to look into that. And that about covers it for me now. Again, I'm definitely linking to my DC Writer Salon down below, as well as the place where I found my online beta reading group and my AuthorTube playlist. Expect to see me back on this channel hopefully pretty soon to do my final June reading wrap-up. I mean, considering we're now in July, it seems like a good time to, wrap up June. And I hope you're all doing well with your goals as we make it into summer. In my area, it's going to be getting hotter and hotter, I believe, which hopefully will be more incentive to stay into the AC and, get some goals done and all of that. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Keep writing, and I'll see you next time.